All right, I think we're streaming. Let's just do the old double check here. If you're listening already, then you already know what's going on. Do. Stand by. Here we go. What's up, everybody? It's the Arty Show, episode 238 here, live, as always. To the left of me, Adam the Mallet, hanging out in his white tee, like he's going to the Jersey Shore and pumping some fists. How are you, sir?
Oh, there'll be no fist pumping.
I'm
too old, I think, to fist pump now. That could break something.
Yeah. I think you need a tighter t-shirt too. You're a man of tight tees. That is a very mallet-like loose t-shirt. Why would you say,
It is. Right now it is. I just kind of threw something on because I realized I had nothing on. So I was like, oh, I should throw something on. I could change that though easily right now. I have a shirt right here.
You could have done the show in the buck. I'm sure that people wouldn't mind. You know?
Who knows from the waist down if they have anything.
That's true. Yeah, me too. Who knows? It was been known that Adam is the man of the tight tee. But it shapes you. It fills you. It's almost like it was painted on.
Oh, I crushed that shit. I do.
Yeah. I like a tight tee too, but it gets to a point where a tee becomes too tight, or in my case, I put on too much weight and it just looks like a fat guy in a t-shirt that doesn't quite fit, you know? Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. The audio I can't tell when we're stopping and moving sometimes because I know my connection sometimes is fucked too. Sorry. No, I was going to say the thing is I work hard for my age to work out. And so it's like, I feel like if I have something I want to show, I'm going to fucking show it off. I don't give a fuck. You know, if I feel like I have like a gut though, I ain't going to wear one, you know?
I was able to pull off the men's small t-shirt for, I would say until about 5-6 years ago, probably until like 2014. I was able to wear a men's small and be able to get away with it without looking like it was a t-shirt that was too small for me. You know what I mean? I accidentally put on a men's small t-shirt a couple days ago. We got these free t-shirts at the Garden when they were closing down for the Bruins. So I got a small one for Henry, so eventually grow into it. So I accidentally grabbed that one by mistake. I tried to put it on. It looked like a fucking belly shirt. It was not flattering whatsoever.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was bad. Like my gut was like, it was like hanging on the top of the gut, and you could see like the 2 inches from the waistline to the bottom of the t-shirt. And I was like, oh, it's just, and like the sleeves are way too high too. It looked like it was like a cutoff tee. So I do it with I can safely wear a men's medium without looking too ridiculous, but you know, I don't know, those days went far and beyond, I guess. That's what happens, I guess. You get, your body falls apart on you. But
old age, man, it happens to all of us. Age always wins, you know, it's undefeated.
It does, and it is will you just tell me it's been 11 days since we've gotten back from our Kentucky Derby trip, and you said you just finally had a full night's sleep for the first time last night, huh?
Yeah, last night I had actually, because I've been backed up with my sinuses and still fucked up since we got back in terms of my head and sickness, and it's just like last night I got like my very first, I would say, like good night's sleep.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a limb and say I have not yet gotten a full night's sleep. I don't know if I'm even capable at this point of my life to even be able to, even if I had the opportunity. Like when we were in the hotel room, I had nowhere to go. I had no one waking me up. I could have slept as late as I want. We didn't have to be anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like that Sunday we woke up, like I didn't go to bed.
I feel like
you take a nap though.
You're kind of in a different world though, because you also have kids. So it's like you're used to not having a lot of sleep because they're gonna wake you up and you gotta feed and all that stuff. So I mean that's kind of a different ball game.
Yeah, my time's all thrown off at this point. Hold on 1 second. Henry, if you want to leave, just open the door and go, buddy. You can just open the door. There you go. You know how to do that. Just close it on the way out. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, like I woke up so when we were on that Sunday we were there, right? For example, I go, all right, listen, Sunday, if I wake up in time, we'll do the tour. If we don't wake up in time, we don't do the tour. The tour was at 10:30, right? I woke up at like 7:30. You would have just gone down for breakfast or something like that around that point, I think. And I was wondering where our Puerto Rican friend was, who just left in the middle of the night. Apparently, I was talking to him the other day. So when I got back to the hotel around like 3:30 from the casino, he was just about to wake up. I think his first alarm had gone off at that point, and he was getting ready to go. He was out of there by like 5, the latest. I think he was out of there by like 4:30. So he didn't get a good night's sleep either. Because we got back around 10:30 from the bus. Finally dropped us off. It was around 10 o'clock, 10:30. We checked into the hotel. I think it was probably right, if I remember correctly. I don't really remember.
Sounds about right.
Kind of a blur. Yeah. But I did know one thing. I was not going to bed. I was going to push myself to the limits. Thank God, Sticky. I probably would have fallen asleep at the casino if I was alone because no one else went out except for Skippy. And he was there till fucking 4. I don't know how he did it. Well, yeah. I know how he did it. He didn't make it very long the next night, so. Yeah, but like my body's automatically set up for like 7. I mean, you know.
I'm starting to realize, like, what's the point of pushing yourself if you're just going to be exhausted and tired? Just go to fucking bed. You're not missing anything.
No, you're absolutely right. But you can go to bed and wake up anytime you want on a regular day. I can't. I have my restrictions. You know, I can't really sleep in when I really want to anymore. So I had an opportunity, so I took full advantage of it. But for some reason, my body was already set on its natural alarm. It was like, yeah, fuck you. We're waking you up, motherfucker. It's 7:30. Wake up. And I'm like, all right, ready to go do the day. You know, 4 hours. And I function off 4 hours of sleep anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But it'd be nice just to sleep a little bit. Like sometimes, like I get out of bed and I'm like going to work, and Henry's still sleeping in the bed, and I'm very jealous. I'm envy of the unlimited sleep that one could possibly get as a young kid. Naps,
I mean, you know, could you pull it off though? I don't think you can pull it off. Like even me, for example, like it's like I can sleep till whenever the fuck I want. But the problem is my body like will let me. Like no matter what, I can, if I really, really try on the weekends, I can maybe sleep till 7:30 in the morning. Maybe. But my body is just, no, you got to be up at 6. So I'll wake up at 6 like I'm going to work, and then I'll lay there and stare at my ceiling. And then I fall back asleep maybe for a half an hour. And then I wake up and I got to start the day.
Yeah, that's about right. I actually, and I'm on vacation. People say you go on vacation, you sleep late, relax. I actually get irritated with myself if I sleep too late on vacation because I feel like I'm missing out on opportunity to do stuff. You know what I mean? Even like on the weekends too. Like if I can sleep late, I'm pissed because I get so much shit to do usually. At least in the morning. I like to get all my shit done in the morning. So like the rest of the afternoon is open, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I just want to sit there and watch TV, I can for the 6-7 hours straight. But like if I gotta mow the lawn, I like to be up early. So I can't mow the lawn before 9 o'clock anymore after the incident with my neighbor. I remember that story, right? I was up at I was up at like the crack of dawn, so I was like, oh, it's 6:30. Let me go mow my lawn. And I was yelled at by the people next door who are growing marijuana in their upstairs. I think not my fault. It's the middle of summer. You have your windows open. Close your windows. Put an air conditioner in. Everything will be good, you know. So now to avoid confrontation with the residents in the neighborhood, I wait till at least 9 o'clock at this point before I mow the lawn. But I have an electric lawnmower. None of the areas that I mow touch a house. It's all woods. So unless sound is of an electric lawn, unless it's that quiet that an electric lawnmower is amplifying noise, the roosters and the exotic birds that live in the area are louder than the lawnmower. So I don't know. Maybe she was just angry. But I remember I showed you that video because I put it up on my security cameras.
Yes. So question, I know we were supposed to have a guest tonight. And I was very interested. I was actually looking forward to him. So can we dive into that since he's not here? Because I feel like it's a very interesting story.
It is. So we remember Charles from a few weeks ago. He was the one who built that app that he made so you can count on cards. So I get a text message from him yesterday around lunchtime. He goes, dude, turned $140 to $800 last night at the casino. So I'm like, oh, I'm like, cool. Like, where'd you go? And he's like, I went down to Rhode Island and I was kind of using the app and I made $700 or so, 600 and change. I go, cool. So we sit chatting. He's like, oh, you work in the bar tonight? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, I'll come by. So he comes by and he's as usual. And so after he had a couple of drinks in him, I wanted to ask him about the text messages that I received that you've seen the night of the Cinco de Mayo. And so he had come in, but he couldn't sit at the box. There was any seats. So he's a good kid. He goes into the dining room. So all of a sudden, around what time would that be about? It was probably around closing time, around 2:00, maybe 1:00. I showed you that thing. Right? We were both wrapping up everything, and it was like a paragraph. Like it was an email length text message. Like I'm looking at it right now. It's like this is, if you can see, this is all right there. Like it's like it was a lot of information for me to take in. Now at this point, I was at hour 23 of being up for the day. I didn't really have time to dig.
Yeah, I remember. I thought you were exaggerating.
Right.
At first, I thought you were exaggerating at the length, and then you're like, look, and you're like, look, you're holding your phone up like this, and you're scrolling, like, and I'm like, holy shit! You're like, I can't do this right.
I've never in my life received a text message that long before. Even if someone's angry, and usually they space it out a little bit. This was paragraph after paragraph of pure, not anger towards me. I guess he was just probably had a few drinks, a little tipsy, you know, in the moment. So we never really got. I wanted to save it to why he was so angry, but apparently there was a misunderstanding at the end of the day. He thought something happened that really didn't happen. So he comes in last night. So I go to him after his like second drink. I go, hey, I got to ask you a question. I go, I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks since and I showed him. I go, dude, what the fuck was all this? Right. He goes, I'm so sorry. It was a misunderstanding. I thought something happened that didn't happen. I went to the bathroom and someone was going through my stuff, and he was describing a person similar to how you were describing a person today that was there that night that I did not recall or remember that even was there. He was saying there was a person that worked there. He described him. I had no idea the description, did not ring a bell. I had to ask 3 people who had helped me, and they're like, oh yeah, that was one of the hosts that night. Similar to you telling me when Maria from Korea was there, and she was with some dude and she was talking to him, and I do not recall what this dude looks like, who is his name, where anything about him. I'm no clue. I have to ask her. The next time I talk to her, I gotta be like, who the hell were you sitting with that night? I have no idea who this person was. For some reason, that part of my mind was shut down for any long-term memory, I think, at this point. So so I'm chit-chatting with Charles. So I go to him, I go, dude, you know what? Why don't you come on the show tomorrow night? I go, I'll send you the information tomorrow. We could chit-chat about the whole situation. We can catch up on some stuff and everything. So he's like, cool. So then I text him today and give him the information. He goes, awesome, dude. Last night was crazy. So last night he was in there, and there was a girl and a guy I went to high school with. They were also there. They were sitting at the bar, and they never met each other before. None of these 3, the 2 and Charles never met each other. And next thing I know it, like about an hour into it, and I didn't even introduce him. There was no common conversation. There was nothing of that nature. There was one of the pilots was there sitting next to him. Everyone was just having like a casual conversation. We were watching the Celtics, who blew that game last night. Next thing I know, he's over at a table with the girl I went to high school with, having a hot conversation, like a deep dive into some like intellectual and some sensitivity talk. So I was like, what the fuck is going on over here? So I go, what's going on? And she was like, something must have been said. And then she said something to him and then turned into like a therapist and was like giving him some advice, I guess, on life, right? And I go, oh yeah, that's how you want your therapy at 11:30 when you had a few drinks already and you're sitting there on a Wednesday night after the Celtics lost. But yeah, that's when I want to hear some in which she was coming from a good place. Don't get me wrong. I know she was just probably helping him, trying to talk him, whatever was mentioned or came up. She was trying to like lead him into the right direction. But I don't want to get too much into it because I think he could be able to describe it. I'm just going to we'll bring him on sometime down the line and we'll get really the details of it. But this is kind of the gist of it, because from some of the information is a lot juicier, but I don't know if he wants to share some of the information. I'll put it that way. We'll leave it at that. But that's
respectable. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So me and you will. I'll tell you what. I think I told you a little bit, anyways, off the air. But so then he get a text message from him today. So this is like the next day. Me and him were talking this morning. He goes, I injured myself last night. I go, you injured yourself? I go, what happened? I go, I don't remember falling. I don't remember any incidents. I go there at the restaurant. He's like, no. So he walks to the bar. Smart move. He's like a half a
Mhm.
mile walk. You just got to cross the highway and go down the street. And he's like probably a 20-minute walk, right? Not so bad. And he shows me a picture of his bloody finger, like full of blood. Like you know when you cut yourself and then the blood like gets all over the place and then it starts crusting over and becoming like, it looks a lot worse than it is. If you just clean it off, it looks like a lot better, right? So he sends me that picture. I go,
Yeah.
what'd you do? He's like, I don't know. I woke up like this an hour ago. And an hour ago, this text message was sent at 12:10. So he said he had a little night's sleep. And he was a little hungover. So he texted me today. He's like, I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm a little hungover. I'm like, I wonder why. So it was just a night of odd shit going on. It was people threatening my life. Maybe, drunk people, angry people, Charles.
Is there a chance this could all be in his head too?
Possibly. There's a good possibility.
I was gonna say I have questions, and I'm looking forward to speaking.
And that's the thing, because yeah, I think this text message, the concept of the big one that was sent a couple of weeks ago, maybe it may have been made up, may not have actually happened. This might be a figment of his imagination, and if it is,
yeah,
it's a hell of a fucking imagination you got there.
Well, I remember complaining about Eric's paranoia, and this paranoia sounds completely next level.
Right, like this is a whole nother dimension. Like, here's the thing. Once he came in that night, he grabbed a drink for me. And I said to him, I go, you're just gonna hang around the bar? And he's like, no, I'm probably gonna go sit somewhere. I'll grab a table, someone else sit there because I'm gonna get some food and I just want to be comfortable. All right. I did not see him for the rest of the night. He did not come up. This is probably like at 9:30, and I did not see him for the rest of the night. I have no idea. I thought he left. I thought he had a drink left. That was it. I had no idea of any information on this. And so when I got that message, I was completely shocked. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought I didn't know you were here. But hello. What do you think? Think it's all like a fantasy world?
I think it's a little bit of truth with delusions peppered in that enhance those truths to other things.
Yes. Which is funny because for some reason today, the movie Leaving Las Vegas came up. I don't know what the fuck I was listening to. I was listening to a podcast, I think. I've never seen Leaving Las Vegas. Never seen the movie. I do like movies. Okay, you gotta say.
I was gonna say, funny you should mention that. I actually watched that like less than a month ago for the very first time because I was shocked I hadn't seen it. And I thought it was about what I thought I had no idea what it was about, to be honest with you. I just knew it had Nicolas Cage in it, Elizabeth Shue, the hooker.
Right.
And I thought, when I think of Leaving Las Vegas, I think about some guy who might have mob connections, going to Vegas, winning big, getting tied up and shit. I had no idea what I was in for because it is nothing, has anything to do with that. It's about a guy, you know what it's about, right?
Right, yeah. So
he's a guy drinking himself.
So now you just said Elizabeth Shue. Right. So that's why I Googled Elizabeth Shue today because I wanted to see what she looked like at 60 years old. Because we had mentioned Cocktail in The Office, remember? And we're like, something was mentioned with Tom Cruise. Then the movie Cocktail was brought up, and then Elizabeth Shue and how hot she was in Cocktail. And I heard that Elizabeth Shue still looks pretty good for a 60-year-old woman. So I Googled her, and I did, which brought me to her Wikipedia page, like the movies go on the bottom of the Google search rather, and it shows all the movies you were in.
Yes.
Leaving Las Vegas was on there, and I go, Leaving Las Vegas. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Clicked on it. I'm like, oh yes, Nicolas Cage is in that movie, which led me to watch a trailer for the movie. Because I had no idea of the concept of the movie. I guess we could say basically it's a guy who gets fired. His wife leaves him. His kid doesn't want anything to do with him, and he gets fired from his boss, and he gives him a check to go to like just his severance pay. And he was just gonna go to Las Vegas, get fucked up, and die. That was his idea, right? That's basically the premise.
Yeah, he's drinking himself to death.
Right.
That's the whole plot of him going to Vegas to drink himself to death.
So while he's there, he encounters Elizabeth Shue, who's a hooker, working for like the Russian mob or something, or some kind of like weird third world country mafia or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he falls in love, and that's like the premise of the movie, right? For the most part. What's the end? You can spoil.
Yeah, and like she takes care of him and stuff. You know?
Okay. Yes. Right. yeah, she invites him to live with him and stuff like this. And it's like, and I guess at the end of the movie, do they end up together at the end of the movie? We could do it. I mean, this movie came out 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, he dies in basically her arms.
Wow, that's a turn of wow. Oh, well, I guess
I don't recommend watching this movie high
Okay.
like I did.
Yep.
It is depressing movie. It is one of those like movies that it's good but there's no need to see it again because it's that depressing.
right.
Like, it's good. I've seen a lot of movies like that where it's like I liked it, but I got no need to see this again. Joker was like that too. Just
Joker.
depressing and fucked up, but no reason to see it again.
Joker was like that for me as well. In the movie with called Rain on Me with Adam Sandler when his wife and kids die in 9/11 and he goes off the fucking reservation. You ever see this one?
No.
So the premise of that movie, we'll just make a little aside here. Adam Sandler was a successful Wall Street guy living in New York City with a wife and 2 kids, right? The movie starts off of him fired from his job, long hair, wandering the streets like a bum. And he encounters his college roommate he doesn't even recognize him. And it's the guy, the black guy from like Ocean's 11 has a little, he has an
Don Cheadle.
Yes. So he encounters him and Don's like, you don't remember me. Like you're my college roommate. We were like friends and stuff. And Adam Sandler had gone off the reservation. This takes place like in 2011. And we find out as the movie goes on why he's crazy. And eventually in the movie, what happened was he had gotten into he was supposed to fly to LA. He was going to fly from JFK to LA. His wife was from Boston and was taking the kids to go visit some family. And they're going to jump on the airplane. They were going to meet him in LA. It happened to be on 9/11, and she was in the family. It's a made up scenario, but the family was on the 9/11 plane. So as he was on his way to he had just got an argument with his wife on the phone, and as he's on his way to the airport, he sees the planes hit the towers, and then he finally when it all comes to go, he gets to the airport. Obviously, the airports are shut down. He figures out the flights from Boston. The next thing you know, his family's dead in an instant, right? So now he gets fired from his job because he goes off the reservation, but he gets a insurance severance pay for the family from the 9/11 fund, which is millions of dollars, right? And he's been living off that and pretty much living like a bum. So basically the idea of the premise of the movie is Don Cheadle is basically going to try to help him and bring him back to a state where he can get on with his life and a manageable. It's the most depressing fucking movie in the world. If you watch it, like you said, don't watch it again. It'll literally make you, especially because you remember what it was like on 9/11, it'll make you a pit in your stomach. It's sickening. Like there's too much realistic. Too much. Maybe if you watch this movie in 100 years, like if I watch a movie about Pearl Harbor, I don't get this feeling. But I'm sure if I was like living in the time of Pearl Harbor, I probably would have a little bit more of a connection to it. So it's probably like that.
Yeah, it must be hard too as like an actor. I don't know why. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I get why somebody would want to star in a movie that had a recent tragedy happen in the world, but at the same time, it's like, would you really want to? I mean, I'm sure everyone has a price, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. It was just kind of hit a nerve with me. I don't know.
So an actor who did that, and it was literally the year after who did that, right? Was your favorite actor, a guy who was in a movie we were talking about, Nick Cage. He did World Trade Tower or World Trade Center.
That's right.
A Port Authority police officer. That movie came out like in 2004 or 2005. It was
they rushed the shit out of that one. Yeah.
Well, maybe they already knew it was going to happen, so they had the movie already ready to go.
Or they just slapped a bunch of bullshit together with no.
It was kind of it's really a bad movie. I watched it once. It just really has no. It's not one of Nick Cage's best movies. I'll tell you that much. It's kind of a dud. I'd rather watch The Weatherman than World Trade Center. I like The Weatherman. Actually, it's a good movie. So,
but I actually just saw. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Yeah, what you saying?
No, I actually just saw his latest movie, Nick Cage's latest movie, Renfield.
Yes,
it's actually pretty. It's pretty fucking hilarious. Like he plays
like a vampire, right?
Well, he's Dracula. He's Dracula, and Renfield is Dracula's assistant, and in it, Renfield kind of starts to feel like he can start to do his own thing. Like he wants to break away from Dracula. So like he goes to like self-help groups. He goes to like all these things and realizes he can survive on his own without Dracula. And it's pretty funny, actually. It's about him just trying to break away from his evil master.
So it's the perspective of Dracula and the perspective of the assistants of Dracula himself. It's a very interesting perspective.
It's more it's more from the perspective of Renfield.
And it's a comedy. It's kind of like
it's a comedy horror movie. It's gory as fuck, good. I'll tell you that. So it kind of sputters out near the end, but overall it was good. Yeah.
So Nick Cage adds another character to his repertoire, Dracula. I mean, he's played a cop.
He's played a vampire.
Has he played a vampire?
He's played a vampire before, but he's never played Dracula. But he has played a vampire.
So, all right. So now so back onto the Leaving Las Vegas. So I started watching that movie. So then I came across Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Okay, so now, because remember you were saying if you're high, don't watch a movie because it'll kind of fuck you up a little bit, right? So I go, oh, is Nick Cage in this movie too? That's weird. He would make 3 movies involving Las Vegas. I guess 4 if you're right. So he's got Honeymoon in Vegas. He's got Leaving Las Vegas. In Con Air, he flies a plane into Vegas, right, at the end. And I was thinking, Fear and Loathing, I go, another Las Vegas movie with Nick Cage. But it wasn't. It was Johnny Depp.
Yes, that is the pseudo true story of Hunter Thompson, Gonzo journalist.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So the whole movie.
Yeah, there's also a movie called The Rum Diaries, which is kind of a sequel to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Not really, but they kind of go together. But I mean, it's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a very interesting movie about drugs and the ether. Did you watch it?
So yes, this is what I didn't watch the full movie. So now I went into a deep dive on YouTube and I was able to find a number of clips of the movie. So when you say don't watch a movie fucked up, there was a scene where he's checking into the hotel and he's like on acid and something else, and then the bodies are morphing into these like circus-like characters, and it was fucking freaking. It was like, wow, that's freaking freaky. Can you imagine watching that high? You'd be losing your fucking mind.
I'd watch that high now because I've seen it, so I know what to expect. So I think it might be a different perspective if I watch it high, so it'd be interesting.
No surprises, but he talks in a weird. His mannerism while he talks in the movie is very odd.
Yes, he talks like this.
Yes. It was a nice night as we make it back to the hotel, and I'm like, is he trying to interpret the character that he was playing, or was he like, this is him being like a weird voice when he's all fucked up kind of thing?
That's him being Hunter Thompson.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense now because I didn't know it was about a true story, but now that makes a lot of sense. He was impersonating basically. Okay, yeah, because that guy was
worried about. I was worried about the ether.
It was just a weird. So then I went into a deep dive in that carousel scene when they're in the carousel bar. I go, where the fuck is that? So this is what I concluded. So they rebuilt the carousel bar. It's at Plaza at the end, the old strip. It's basically where the in Back to the Future 2, Biff's hotel was inspired by. It was actually that hotel they used to film the Plaza right at the end of the strip on the old part of Vegas. So there was a bar in front of it that looked like a carousel. So that movie came out in 95, 97. So I Googled it, and all Google Earth can go back to is like 2007. And they had ripped out the bar from the entrance of the plaza, and it was but you could tell it was the carousel bar because of the way the lights were. So I started like doing some investigating. They're bringing the carousel bar back. As far as I know, it's already open right now. And it looks exactly like it did when it did in the movie beforehand, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the opening of that is just extremely memorable with him and Benicio del Toro just kind of cruising, and he just goes on a rant about how he's worried about the ether in the trunk. He's like, "There's nothing more in the world more helpless and irresponsible and depraved than a man in the depths of the ether binge." Yeah. It's just like he just loves talking about the ether.
There's a very odd scene in a movie where he's getting pulled over by the police, and he's like, a normal person would pull over who has guilt. I have no guilt, so I'm going to put him on a high-speed chase. And he's just going through the desert as fast as he can. The cops chasing him, and then he does a turn, and he breaks away, and he just pulls over to the side of the road, and he's like smoking a cigarette, and he meets up with the cop, and the cop's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he like, takes his license, and like the cop's like, "Oh, I didn't know it was you." And he looks in the car, and there was like gallons of milk and cans of beans and stuff, and it was really weird. Then the cop just left.
Yeah, it's a movie just about getting fucked up, right? But there are other movies that are about getting fucked up that I don't really like. You ever seen Requiem for a Dream? I don't really care really that much for that movie. Well, that movie's about getting fucked up.
You know, that scene in Knocked Up where they went to do Cirque. They took mushrooms and seen Cirque du Soleil.
Yes.
What if you were on mushrooms watching that scene of that movie of the guys on mushrooms and their interpretation of Cirque du Soleil? Does it go back to normal?
No, I mean, I'm sure you'd watch it and be like, it probably wouldn't have any much of effect on you. But now, if you really were there, I would never do that. That sounds like a horrible plan.
No, I don't even want to be at the circus drunk. It makes me very worried if these circus people would do.
Yeah, but you and I know people who do things like that, who do things like mushrooms that would probably go to something like that.
Right. No, maybe like to the Kentucky Derby. Who knows? But like something like that, I don't know why you'd want to be like Cirque du Soleil is basically like a strip club with like better acrobatics and fully clothed. Basically, they just do a bunch of flips. They do a lot of dances and shit. So like the ones I've seen weren't the crazy ones. They were more like the traditional circus acts. But there's some like the Beatles one. They have weird masks and weird shit. Like I don't want to be in part of that stuff. You know, I don't even want to even see that drunk. It fuck me up.
No.
You sitting there like, why is that mask looking at me? Why is that thing looking at me funny? Fucking crazy. So, which leads me to the next point. I wonder how many. So I'm trying to figure out how many movies that take place in Vegas, right? So now
wow.
I'm putting together like a list in my head. And I'm writing them down because I'm going to Las Vegas also in the end of September for a wedding.
Okay.
And there's a lot in Las Vegas I've seen, and there's a lot that I haven't seen. So I wanted to put together and spend the time in the next few weeks or the next few months watching these Vegas themed movies and seeing if there's any cool sites in these movies, because they always have like one or two scenes that are something really unique about the city they're in or something like that.
Yeah.
And see if I could find those spots. That's how the Carnival Bar got into place. I was like, oh, the Carnival Bar. And I started doing some research on it. I realized where it is and where I can find it. But so like I was like, oh, Honeymoon in Vegas, great movie. You know, Nick Cage, flying Elvises and blow up suits. And I'm like, oh, and there's this two places. And I'm like, and you know, like Con Air came into mind, and all the Oceans. Well, Oceans 1 and Oceans 3, I think, yeah, because Oceans 2 was like in Europe.
Hangover 1 and 3.
Hangover 1 and 3. And like, oh god, I didn't go. You can go back even further. You get like, you know, Vegas Vacation, and then you can go and there's probably some like mobster movies, like Casino takes place in Vegas, right?
Yep.
You could find some other shit that's.
You could find a shitty Ashton Kutcher movie. What happens in Vegas?
Mm-hmm. Which I'm thinking to myself is that would be a hell of a list which is probably exists. I just was too lazy enough to Google it, but there's probably like a list of every single movie that takes place in Vegas, probably in chronological order from when they started, probably in the 30s all the way to today. And that would be quite the impressive library. Did you find it?
Oh yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Wikipedia has
how many?
list.
Does it give you a number?
It just lists them all. I could count, but the show might be over by the time.
Yeah, I'm so there's a lot, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Are there some you haven't heard of on the first glance?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're talking. Remember, this extends back to like 1941. So, I mean, if you want me to start somewhere, what year?
Oh, see, like start like the 80s. Anything in the 80s, because that'll be more if I remember those movies a little bit better.
All right, I'll start in like 88. Rain Man. Midnight Run. Las Vegas Bloodbath. I don't know that one. Harley Davidson, The Marlboro Man. Bugsy, Father Christmas, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Really? Cool World, Honeymoon in Vegas, Indecent Proposal.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about Casino, obviously. Showgirls.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 3.
Really?
I forgot. Oh, I mean, think about it. He preys on making wishes and then fucking them up. So Vegas is the perfect. Here's one I'm mad that you and me didn't get. Actually, there's two here I'm mad. Swingers.
Oh, yeah.
And Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead Do America. Yeah.
Fools Rush In. Never saw that. Very Bad Things. That movie's actually pretty good.
It actually be pretty cool to say, like, take like 10 or 15 of those and watch them. And then but watch them in chronological order. So like you could see the progression of Vegas as time goes on compared to today. It'd be a real history mind fuck. Like, for example, the Riviera Casino and Hotel. They filmed the casino there. They did Vegas Vacation in there and all that stuff. And it's since been ripped down at this point, but there have been so many historic movies that were filmed in this one particular hotel casino on the strip, which is pretty cool.
Okay, that's right. Oh man, okay, yeah. Wishmaster 2, it's a horror movie. The Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh shit. That one didn't have the original cast of the original Flintstones. Though,
no, it
right?
didn't. No, it's a shameless sequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay It Forward. 3,000 Miles to Graceland. That had Kurt Russell in it. I remember that. Rush Hour 2. Okay. Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Miss Congeniality 2. Resident Evil Extinction. 21. I forgot about that movie. That's with Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, that's the Harvard one, right? The guys are card counters, like up the Charles.
Up in the Air. Oh yeah, that's right. Up in the Air has a scene in Vegas. I think. It could just be a scene, you know.
Yeah, because you're in Vegas because he does that big convention in Vegas, then he leaves, but then he has he takes the picture of his sister and her husband in front of the Lexor.
Get Him to the Greek. Ugh, Russell Brand.
No, that movie's kind of annoying, and it has the other guy too. And it's
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah. Last Vegas. I don't know what that is, but that sounds familiar. Now You See Me. I remember that. That's the Magicians.
Yeah.
Now You See Godzilla. Step Up.
So these gotta be just like seen.
Yeah.
These aren't like. I'm looking for like a list of like the majority of
everything. You know,
set in this day. You know.
Oh, that's right. Paul Bart 2.
Oh, Mall Cop.
Yeah, Mall Cop 2 is Vegas. I remember.
Why does he go to Vegas?
That's the second one, right?
Yeah, no. Why? It was for a convention or something. I don't think I've ever seen the second one, to be honest.
I think I don't know. He transferred. I guess I don't know. Never saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Paul Blart 1 only because I try to see my sister because she's an extra in the movie.
Yeah, the Burlington Mall.
Burlington and the Braintree Plaza. They used to. So my sister got paid as like extra costs just to keep the store open. So the mall looked open like for like a whole week. And she goes, every once in a while, Kevin James would just go by like on the scooter, and you'd see Karen Cruz go and they're like, all you have to do is pretend you work and just kind of just hang out and all that stuff.
I can't stand that guy. I've always never been a fan of Kevin James. I never understood why anybody thought he was funny. And he's the only person to ruin a sitcom. Like, you remember, not King of Queens. There was the one he had after that. Yes, Kevin Can Wait. And he fucked that show up. It was actually funny. And then remember, he wanted to replace the wife with Leah Remini from King of Queens.
Yes. He killed the wife off, and Leah became his boss or something like that for the company he worked at or something like that. So they had the work relationship kind of thing going on. But
he destroyed something that already was working.
Right. And he said something about he didn't have the chemistry with the chick she's the one who's in the new Christmas Story 2, and she was in some other movie too. She's like a kind of like a B-list, celebrity, but like he said he wasn't, because he got lazy at him. That's what he did. He was so used to fucking 10 years of like easy stuff with one girl. And he's like, oh, now I gotta work for this. I gotta do this all over again. So it's like he just got lazy. He's like, just replace her. Leah just got kicked out of Scientology. She's probably looking for some work.
He must have been like executive producer too, because for him to have that kind of pull, like he's Kevin James. I mean, Kevin James is a name. I mean, he's not Adam Sandler. He's not like to have that kind of pull.
He was his first introduced to the TV was on
I'm listening. I gotta grab something.
Who's the guy with Ray Romano? What the hell was the name of that TV show?
Oh God, Ray Romano. Fuck.
You remember him? He was like, why am I drawing a blank?
Yeah, I remember that show though. He sounds like, remember John Lackey, the Red Sox pitcher? John Lackey sounds just like him.
Yeah, I'm Ray Romano. God, what the hell was the name of that TV show? It was on, had Patricia Eaton in it, and it was on for like 10 years. But so Kevin James played his cousin in that show. So he kind of made some guest appearances on that show, and that's how he got introduced to
Everyone Loves Raymond.
Stupid. I cannot remember that. It's from one of my favorite lines from oh God, the movie where they 40-Year-Old Virgin.
There's so many shows from them that I did not like. Like, Everyone Loves Raymond Can Kiss My Ass.
So apparently he was like Ray Romano's like bestie or something like that. Kevin James, like in Sandler, they all kind of went up in the New York comedy scene at the same time. So like they must have owed him a favor. because like his stand-up is not funny, really. I mean, it's kind of like Kevin James comedy stand-up is not really good. Not enough to give you a fucking sitcom.
No, he's the goofy fat guy that just falls off of a roof. Right. That's it. He's a way less funny Chris Farley. Like he sucks. I can't stand him. But like that whole era had shows that I just could not stand. There were a lot of ones that I liked, but like that whole era, like everyone loves Raymond. Mad About You.
Oh, you're crazy. That's one of the best. Oh, so I was going to tell you my best Thursday night lineup was Mad About You, Seinfeld, Frasier, and Cheers.
I mean, all those other ones I actually respect quite a bit.
Friends,
but I just don't like Paul Reiser, and it has to do with I'm kind of looking at him unfairly because one of my favorite movies growing up and still is the movie Aliens. And he plays this guy called Burke, who's a total tool bag. And that was my first introduction to Paul Reiser. So seeing him in the 80s as this tool bag and then seeing him on the show as this guy, I just automatically associated him with douchebag, Burke. So
the Thursday night lineup universe, right? You know this whole story.
They're all connected?
So it happened twice in the history of of sitcoms all on the same network, right? So the first one basically was Seinfeld, right? You have Cosmo Kramer. Cosmo Kramer is subleasing his apartment from no other than Paul Reisner in Mad About You, living their same life on the same parallel, right? So Seinfeld's over here, Mad About You's here, both living in New York. The connection is Paul Reisner kept his apartment in New York City when he got married, and he's renting it to Cosmo Kramer. Okay, cool. So now on Mad About You, you have the blonde chick from Friends. What the hell's her name? She plays
Jennifer Aniston?
No,
Lisa Kudrow.
Lisa Kudrow. Lisa Kudrow was in Mad About You playing one sister. At the same time, in the same universe, she's on Friends playing the twin sister that is acknowledged on both episodes that they have a twin sister. Mind blowing, right? All right, let's go deeper. Cheers, right? Get Cheers. On Cheers, there was a character called Dr. Fraser Crane. So Dr. Fraser Crane was going to vacation on an episode of Cheers. Where he ended up was on Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, which was the theme of the TV show Wings. So Fraser Crane, right, from Cheers in the same time, ended up in Nantucket at the airport on the TV show Wings. Okay. So, all right. So Cheers ends. Wings extends. What show comes next? Frasier plays the same character in 3 different places. Oh, I got another one for you. This one goes deep, late 90s or early 90s. Okay. I don't know if you remember this one.
I am listening. I'm prepping to add to something that's going to blow your mind, to add to what you're saying. Go ahead, keep going.
We have Golden Girls, takes place in Miami, right? During the time it's on, a really bad hurricane hits Florida, Hurricane Andrew. So they have the hurricane episode of Golden Girls. Okay. Now, at the same time in the same universe, there's a TV show called Empty Nest that also takes place in Miami, Florida, on the same network immediately afterwards. And they're in the same universe. That same hurricane hits the Empty Nest episode and gets them all crazy, right? Now you had the ER at the end of the night, like at 10 o'clock. There was a show called Nurses. And Nurses took place, guess the city, Adam? Miami, Florida. Like the and the hurricane hit Nurses too. And somehow characters from one ended up there. Like the Golden Girl lady had to go to the hospital where the Nurses thing was, and one of the Empty Nest characters had to go to the hospital where the Nurses thing was, and they're all lined up together. Genius. I thought it was up until I was about 15, 16 years old, I just thought it was a coincidence. I didn't realize it was planned because
right.
All right. So blow my mind,
get ready for this. All right. So there are all right. How do I present this? Okay. So the X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 24, Beverly Hills 90210, ER, Lost, Prison Break, CSI, Criminal Minds, The Outer Limits, Heroes, That 70s Show, The Twilight Zone, Weeds, Warehouse 13, The L Word, Mission Impossible, Friends, and Breaking Bad all take place in the same universe. And there's one thing that brings it together, and it's the brand of cigarettes, Morley cigarettes. Morley cigarettes is like the fake, like almost how, you know, you call, like when someone calls a number, it's always 555.
Right,
well,
right.
The brand of cigarettes that's always used in television a lot is called Morley cigarettes. It looks like a Marlboro pack, but it says Morley, right?
So it's an Easter egg they put in each of their productions to kind of like as a joke to pass along.
Yes, yeah. There's over 30 something shows that are part of the Morley universe.
Now, I would be curious to see if you go into those shows, you go deep into like the way these shows took place at the time of the universe and see if there's any close connections between like the episodes. You know what I mean? That would be kind of crazy.
That would be interesting.
Like 90210 and like, you know, something else, you know. That must have been like they must have had like a common like production company or something like that, because they probably just had like this copyrighted like fake cigarette brand, or like was it Writers Guild thing that they kind of passed around as a joke.
And it just stuck, and now it's just kind of like an homage to it, kind of like that scream, that oldie timey scream you hear when somebody falls. And you remember I pointed that out once. It's called I forget what the scream is called, but like that's just like thrown in there now. It's like a homage to
Right. Disney does that when they do their cartoons. Like the artists have like a certain like number they all use, and they work that number into all their cartoons for all the movies, like to kind of keep it consistent, like a joke, like pass it on. I do that at our work, Adam. I put my initials secretly in drawings. So when you open it up someday down the line, there it is.
I take it one step further, and on another layer, I put a sketch of a cock.
And then you shut the layer off. So like no one will know. You would never know it's there until you actually turn the layer on. And then one day someone opens up in the computer and all the layers turn on automatically, and there it is, just sitting there. That's actually,
you'd have to open the CAD file to see it, but it's there always.
Dude, I might start doing something like that. Like just hiding and shutting that layer off and just throwing it into the server, and like it could be it could be like 6 months from now someone opens that file, or it could be never.
I'm actually not fucking with you. I've done
that. You saved in a different layer. That's genius.
There's no plots of cock.
And then you just open it up, then you go to edit it and like, what the fuck is that? Oh, that's so. Why haven't I ever thought about that? Like, see, put secret messages in CAD with like just layers shut off that you can't see or print. Oh wow. I'm shocked. That's fucking genius.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the.
Yeah, my mind's blown right now. Why did I never think of that? Probably because basically what I'm trying to do when I'm doing work, the humor in my head is shut off because it's just mind breaking. Like I can't enjoy myself. But
I understand.
But you know, it's the funny thing is like it would be there forever, and some people would never ever be able to see that message.
Yeah. Or 10 years later, somehow someone needs that. They go into it and they're like,
right. Or it would be funny if like that file was like passed on to another customer, like a client, like they needed the file and that got passed on to someone else. And like, then they passed it on to like the guy who's, you know, laying the foundation, and he opens up in his computer and all of a sudden there's a giant, massive cock drawn on the. I
kind of hope that doesn't happen.
And then they can't figure out where it came from though, because they can't track the file back. Right. So the entire time everyone's just passing along. I'll forward this to you, forward this.
Well, they can right now.
You don't even have to draw it. You can like just take a clip of a picture and just put it there too, and then shut that layer out too, so that pitch is always like hanging there.
That's true.
That'd be fun. It'd be like that lot you drew today that looked like a penis. It'd be like,
it did.
This one of those pranks, or this is actually what it looks like.
It's true. Oh God.
It'll probably be an early night for me. I'll tell you that much. I was tired at lunchtime today.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to make it to podcast.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But I'm really on the threshold right now, so I'll probably be a good few hours. Check it off. All right, so that concludes the show, I guess. Adam, you have anything to add?
No, sir. I'm good. I got nothing.
If anyone else has cool Vegas places to check out that are in movies, just leave a comment below, because I'm curious if like this stuff in movies I never like paid attention to. That'd be cool. Okay, so that'd be cool. But yeah, and then you get me on the Wicked Explorers. We get this show on Wicked Explorers and all that good stuff. So until next week, Aluzuma, everybody. See you later.
Peace.